This episode is for Friday, October 9th, 2015. Welcome, Crater fans. I got to get used to that. That's weird.
Crater fans.
Crater. I'm your host, Josh Owens.
And I'm your co-host, Ben Strahan.
Awesome. I trimmed my beard.
I didn't trim my beard.
It's like, it's the poop in the beard thing? So it's like probably 20% less poop now.
That messes me up every time I go to trim my beard, or every morning, like if
You're
it's
combing it.
really ratty, I have to comb it. I'm like, I wonder how much. I'm probably combing out like maybe 20% of the poo, so I feel good about it.
You know, like all I'll say, close the lid when you flush the toilet, all right?
It's kind of funny because like we were a little segue. I was teaching my kids who are all in grade school about like molecules, and like the world is made up of molecules and all stuff, right?
You use your beard as an example?
No, I didn't. But the connecting factor of the story is poo. Listen, everyone who doesn't have kids, if you want to get your kids engaged and teach them something, always use poo as the example. Then they'll listen. They're like, oh, Daddy said poo. Anyway, molecules, like when you smell stuff, it's like little molecules breaking off from the big piece of matter, right? And so I told them, I'm like, every time you smell a stinker, it's actually someone's poop that's going up in your nose. And then my wife yells across the room, and she's like, and that's also why you got poo in your beard. And it comes full circle then.
There we go.
That's my story.
Wife at the Strahan house.
But now my kids are fascinated with biology. And all for the right reasons.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's talk about different molecules. Your kind. Oh my gosh, I totally am on the wrong screen. Here we go. So we're going to talk about meteor guides, slimming down some fat models. MDG's doing an AMA.
Yeah.
And, Meteor and Nginx. That was it. That was all the news this week. Nothing else.
And I interject with Galaxy.
What? No. There was nothing to even talk about there.
No.
Just kidding. We'll talk about this Galaxy thing. Actually, we'll start here. We'll see. I've got a hard stop, so this will probably be the biggest topic. Oh boy, was it ever a topic? I think
Galaxy dropped.
It did. And yeah, I don't know. I definitely felt like it was going to be expensive, and I think I said that on this show a couple times. I was actually a little surprised. It was a little cheaper than I thought if you pay annually. Mm-hmm. And Jeff Schmidt did point out that they are cheaper than Heroku and Modulus, and they offer a better, SLA. Yeah. But I think a lot of people were really expecting Galaxy to just like, when it dropped, it would be like everything they ever wanted in a hosting platform, and
yeah, kind of serve all different levels.
Yeah, but so it's interesting. They dropped Kubernetes. They went full AWS, so there's really no other platform there that you're going to be able to install it on. And I think like behind the firewall installs now get a little bit awkward too. Like I don't know if they're going to do VPC or any of that kind of stuff that Amazon offers. Mm-hmm. But they're using Elastic Load Balancer and CloudFormation to kind of launch your containers for you. And you get what is it, like 10 1 gigabyte containers for $500 a month if you prepay for the year.
Right.
So,
or I think $650 a month if you do monthly.
Yeah. And then they've got a plan up above that where you get like 20 of the containers. I found it odd that they were segmenting on number of users that you're going to attach. Like,
yeah, I don't understand that too much. Team members, I think the first level you get 5, second level you get 10.
It's like, I honestly, like, I don't know. Like, you're probably just going to denote one guy to deploy, or honestly, mm-hmm. like, if you're going to script the thing, you just set up one script user and let that script do it. I don't know.
That's right.
Come on. Guys.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't understand. Like on the projects that we work on, like I'm just using that as a base point. So that's what I'm comparing it to. maybe getting someone from MDG, and hopefully, like, I'm looking forward to the
AMA.
AMA,
Yeah.
and that would come up. So I was
Yeah.
just thinking of something. Since we're the Creator podcast now, not the Meteor podcast, like some people might be like, Galaxy what?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the new, I guess we didn't say that. Like, we just,
Yeah.
like, I don't think we've broken out of our Meteor kind of audience yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, people, send this to the node nerds that you know.
Tweet it more, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
But definitely, like, it's a self-service hosting platform. Self-service, is it? Yeah, maybe. Yes. I don't know. Platform as a service, I guess. And you can, but it's only good for deploying a Meteor app. Like, I guess you could probably figure out how to deploy a Node app there.
No.
I bet
Well,
you could.
they kind of said it. They're like, hey, this is only for Meteor, and you don't have control over the containers. We do. We're going to do the scaling for you. And that tells me that they are purposely hosting Meteor and breaking out certain parts of it for you automatically, that they're expecting to be there because it's a Meteor app.
But, here's the interesting thing to me, and I don't know, maybe the enterprise market isn't dealing with as many users as we thought. Because I know, like, I've been on this Cordova app building it, and they're a Fortune 500 company that commissioned the app, and they're putting something like 2,000 people on the app, which is something that scaling wise isn't that hard to handle.
Right.
But I would think, like, for the enterprise, you probably want to even target bigger than that. You're looking at like 20, 30,000 people connected to your app at any given time. And I don't know, like, I just don't get that there's that many Meteor apps out there that are that large. And I also don't think that scaling your app containers is the hard part of scaling at 20 to 30,000 people. I think Mongo starts to become your problem. And they didn't touch Mongo. So that was another thing that I think a lot of people were disappointed
That's
with.
a good point. Yeah. Yeah. You have to get Mongo services from elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And they recommend Compose. Compose got, like, early access and put together some videos that show you how to get it all running together, which is pretty easy, I gotta say. And I guess now Compose is part of IBM, which, I find interestingly funny to me. Like, IBM kind of competes, on the enterprise front with maybe the space MDG wants.
Man, wouldn't that have been awesome if MDG was able to raise around to buy Compose?
Oh, that would have been crazy. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something? That would have been,
because I mean that would have felt like an interesting fit too, because they've been doing Rethink DB stuff, and when that drops and we get Meteor support for that could be really interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like at least from the commoner's point of view, like, many people were very disappointed.
I am really curious MDG is smart. So this is what there was a lot of talk in our forums, man.
There was a lot of talk in our Slack.
In our Slack. Yeah.
And in the forums.
Yeah. And so, like, I don't know. I just reminded everyone to, like, shut up and, like,
just build something.
like MDG is smart. And on top of that, they have venture capitalist money who, like, they want to get a return on their money. They're smart too. They have a bunch of analysts as well. Like, they already have the end game in mind.
Yeah.
And also, don't judge them based off of version 1.
Yeah.
I think this is a really, really good looking version 1.
Well, I think it's I've just been giving, like the consensus that I got out of the forum and other people posting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with everything you said. Yeah.
And my thoughts on the actual launch are that, one, it's actually pretty smart the way they're doing it. If you think about it, most people don't realize this, but hosting, you're really, like, you're selling an oversubscribed model, right? And trying to have more people than you have resources, and that's where you make your money. And so with hosting, like, the one thing that you have to pay for that is much harder is support. And I feel like, if you look at, to me, I compared this to Apple and Dell, right? If you go look at Dell, you can go get your laptop from them, and it's not really like an experience. You don't really feel like, you're getting this great thing. You're just kind of like, I need a laptop. Give me a laptop. I'm going to work on a laptop. Whereas when you go to Apple, you're like, I want the best. I want great support. I want the Apple Care. Like, it's more like an experience. And I think that's the market that they're going after here. You get the 1 hour SLA, which I don't think you can, like, you're going to pay over $1,000 a month to get that from Heroku. And even then, like, you're going to be like, Meteor, what? And, Modulus, I don't think they give you an SLA. And you'll pay a little bit more than what you pay in Galaxy.
Well, they do have an enterprise class.
They do, and they'll work with you. And I think, if that's something you're interested in, you should contact them, because they still are a good hosting service. But they don't, it's just not, the SLA stuff's not like upfront with them. So you're not sure what you're getting. Whereas Meteor's like, yes, we want this to be an amazing support experience for deploying your Meteor application, and I think that's what they've gone after here. And the hardest part of that is going to be building that support team. And at $500 a month, people deploying 1 or 2 apps, they're going to have a lot less questions than people deploying, for $20 deploying an app or $30 deploying an app. Like, that person's going to have a lot of questions, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also curious to see, as time goes on, Heroku's expensive, right? And how do people get hooked on Heroku? They build their prototypes on Heroku, and then they launch their startup with one dyno on Heroku, and then they grow with Heroku. And before you know it, your bill's huge on Heroku. But they were there for you from the beginning. I'm curious with the versions that are going to come out of Galaxy later on, if they're going to like get people at an early stage.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've already said, right in the fact, they said that they are planning on moving their free services over, and that they'll be coming out with a much more affordable, like almost like a single container option for developers.
Oh,
yeah,
I missed that.
That's you didn't see that? It was in the FAQ.
Well,
no, you're lying to me. You're trolling me, dude. Because
no.
Everyone posted that in the chat room. Like, it became a joke the other day because they were posting it like every 10 minutes.
I didn't read. I just read the beginning.
Oh, I see.
Of it. I was so fed up. I was like, I am not going to read the full post of these people.
That's funny. But yeah, so they're totally going to offer like free. Their free services will be on Galaxy.
Yeah, I did read that part.
Yeah, and then,
I didn't read that one container, more affordable option.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be a one container option, but they're going to come out with like a more affordable, like single developer type option. And I was kind of arguing back and forth with Sam Hatum in the forums on some of the posts there as well, and there's costs associated, right? Like for me, running a business, doing freelancing and podcasting and all this other stuff, like every minute I spend on Crater, I don't really like make any money with Crater.
Right.
It's really just a cost center for me.
Yeah.
And I've never even figured out a good way to work it into my business. I enjoy it. I enjoy DevOps. So like I've moved it to DigitalOcean. I've been playing with Docker, but that comes with some pretty big expense in my opinion, because like I'm always there trying to figure out like how to make it a little bit faster or more stable or something. And when you lose 5 billable hours to that thing, like that's a cost.
Yeah, and you like bill out at $600 an hour, right? So
I do, yeah. Galaxy's like cheap to me.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
45 minutes of my work, boom, got my Galaxy bill paid.
Yeah, I wish. Maybe Aeronota, but not me. He doesn't even, his rate was higher than mine, but he doesn't even do consulting work anymore. So,
yeah.
All right. That's
anyway.
That's okay. Here's your parting thought, right? Think about this. Galaxy means that they're now hosting applications. Here's the things that Meteor Development Group didn't really do very well before. They weren't building apps, and they weren't fixing apps that much. They would get bug reports, and then they'd ask you for a minimal reproduction. But now they put themselves on the hook to like look at things and fix things. That's going to be awesome for everybody. I think we're going to major improvements come into Meteor Core as a result of Galaxy launching.
Positive. That is a positive.
And so, like, it may have been a bummer for you to read that, but in the end, we're going to all benefit because we're living here in this open source world. So
Yeah. Like that's the same thing with WordPress. They worked on the open source thing of WordPress forever. They came out with premium hosting, which was only available to like the top blogs ever, and it was like thousands of dollars a month, right?
mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, you start seeing that the open source WordPress was starting to like be like bulletproof, and it was like getting prepared, and it was like production grade open source product. And then all of a sudden, everyone was trusting it to build their stuff on it, and now it took over the world. You know, is that in the future for Meteor? Anyway, I'm stoked.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Next story.
Next story, Meteor Guides. Talking about making movements to production and making things more efficient and open out there. So Sashko, I think this is a move, calculated move by Sashko and MDG to kind of come back to the community and be like, hey, we're here.
Right.
Called out this thing that said Meteor Guide. Sashko in the forum said, hey, like I want to start giving back and documenting best practices, MDG style. And he's opened up the conversation. It's become a wildly popular forum page to go through. And then he, as usual, Sashko has amazing like GitHub readmes.
Yeah, he's got good writing skills.
Oh my gosh, he does.
Yeah,
so talented.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a start, and there has been, I don't know, gosh, we can like bring this. We don't have a lot of time, but we could bring this all over the place because there was a number of speaking points that we could touch on in the forums and reply.
Here's what I would say: like the forum post is pretty good, but really where the bulk of this is happening now is in the GitHub repos, in the issues, and it's like crazy mad inside there. With a bunch of issues being open and talking about governance and just all kinds of things around this project. And even just like some of the articles, like Sashko's written down some original kind of content that he has, and Abigail's kind of, thinking about like how can the cookbook fit into all this. So
right.
It's really interesting stuff. And if you want to help with documentation, like you should get on board with this thing. I'm kind of interested. There's a number of things that I feel are, I think aren't documented well, and I hope that they can kind of clean that up, and this will be a good effort. My only thought is, from the community standpoint, I still worry, with 86 pull requests sitting out there for MDG, for Meteor right now, like what's it going to look like when, we only have one person kind of shepherding this project on the MDG side, and the only way we get things kind of in is through Sashko, or through, maybe they'll designate someone else too. But I feel like that's going to be a potential bottleneck, and I'd really like to see maybe a little more governance kind of coalesce around this and say like, yeah, actually here's some other people that we trust to approve content in this regard.
Like maybe some community leadership.
Yes, absolutely. Because I don't want to take some time. Like, to me, like, I've got a blog where I can publish a lot of this stuff anyway, and it's still, at this point, like, my trust level is a little bit lower because of the way pull requests have been handled in the past. So it's just going to be easier for me to just take it over there and write it on my blog. Whereas, maybe it's more beneficial to have more eyes on it, have a discussion, make it a little bit better, and publish it, with Meteor Guides.
Yeah. And ultimately, your motivation in saying all that is to recognize, hey, there's a lot of momentum behind this right now. Yeah. You want to keep that momentum going.
Yeah. I don't want it to be like Space Talk was really interesting to watch because it was like mad activity. Everyone's like working on things, pull requests. And then like just, it kind of like everyone lost interest and the people around it lost interest, and then like the core team was kind of left there, and it ended up like Rocket Chat made some smart moves and it kind of pulled ahead, and it was the winner there. And like we don't have a competing thing, but at the same time, like there's a lot of people in here talking and they're interested in contributing, and I want to make sure that they do, because I think if they get something into Meteor Guide, like I think they'll feel like that's some kind of accomplishment, and that's really we want all this good material out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's exciting. It's good stuff.
I agree.
There's some potential.
I agree.
And I think it's going to bring more awareness to some of the major pain points. I'm thinking testing.
Well, it's interesting because probably the craziest issue to go watch right now is Blaze components. And I feel like all of a sudden we're actually talking about the next version of Blaze.
That's another thing, yep.
And getting things folded in, and like progress, like more progress than I've ever seen being made with Blaze is like happening in the guides issue. I don't know. That's really interesting to me as well. So
yeah,
hoping again, like probably the single biggest problem we're going to have is the fact that it feels like, so I see Tom Coleman in there and I see Sashko in there, but my worry is like, we're still not getting enough MDG people in there, and
maybe that's good.
Potentially be the bottleneck.
What my worry is? My worry is if those guys won't open it up more to us. Not so much like get more MDG guys in there, but like get some more community guys in there. Who's the owner? They should put a team together, a GitHub team, and like get some community guys on there on that repo. That's what I want to see instead of more MDG. I want it to be a community driven, MDG sponsored project.
Yeah,
not MDG sponsored and MDG driven.
Right, I agree.
So
I agree.
Yeah. But Sashko, huge thumbs up.
Indeed. I'm super excited about it. I hope we can carry this energy like forward in a positive way. So,
yeah.
And I also got to say, like, I haven't looked at cookbooks in a while, and I got to say props to Abigail and all the people that have contributed to that as well. That's
seriously like Meteorpedia and cookbooks. That was huge for me early on.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
And my blog, right?
And your blog. Your blog was huge to me. That's why I did a guest post there.
Yeah.
It was
your post was huge to me.
Yeah.
All right. So slimming down.
And Josh sitting in the tree. What? Huh? Sorry. I was singing my praises of you, Josh.
We're talking about fat models.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of love for Josh. No.
I've had a little too much beer lately. It's sad when you have a 5-gallon keg and it taps out and you're the only guy drinking it and you're like, oh, that was a lot of beer I've had. Oh, I'm just kidding. We got it for a party. But anyway.
A party of one.
Party. Me and myself. All right. So I wrote an article about fat model skinny templates, and it was kind of inspired by Jameis Buck's original post from Rails, where he was talking about like the idea of keeping business logic in with your actual data and keep that close there. And so I think, clearly I inspired a few people to think about this pattern and use it and play with it. And
are you trying to take some of the credit?
I'm not. No, not at all. I'll say this.
Just to introduce this,
Well,
I don't know what inspired
the backstory to it. So Pete Corey wrote this article, and it's called "Slimming Down Fat Models," and I'm like, what's this? And I open it up, and I start. I'm like, he's talking about how he's talking about keeping things like email sending and that kind of business logic, like, was all in those collection helpers, like what I had talked about. But then he decided to like use the event emitter pattern it already comes with Node, right? It's already built in on the server side. You don't really have to do anything else. And instead of firing like all these different email sends, he's using the event emitter, and he could just say like, when X is emitted as an event, we need to do some stuff. And so you're able to break away that email sending into its own file, and you can just pick that up. And so he's showing where like, when a job gets filled, he's sending to the owner, congrats on filling the position, and then to the person that got the job, congrats on landing it, and then that'll fire a job closed, and that'll tell all the other people like, hey, sorry you didn't make it, and I don't know. I like this. I think it's a lot cleaner, and it's really, really interesting. I think this is a better way to replace the collection hook stuff, personally.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. At first, I was skeptical, and then I read it and kind of thought on it, and I got to say, like, kudos to Pete. I think this is an awesome pattern.
I do too. I concur. Everything that you said.
Yeah.
And a quick shout out, like Pete's blog is awesome. I think we featured him a couple times on this podcast.
Yeah, totally. I think he's got a good head about security, and he's got a good head about like sustainable like development patterns. And so really, like when you read his posts, like you can tell that he's good at this stuff. And
yeah, absolutely. So like Pete's a freelancer out of San Diego.
He's booked. So good luck.
Solid. So, yeah. So not only send him lots of money, but send him like a bribe, like maybe.
Yeah, maybe you can jump the line
or something like that. I don't know.
Sausage? What?
I don't know. I didn't have a good lunch. I'm starving. Give me some food. Anyway,
come on, sausage.
Check out Pete at east5th.co.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. What's this thing next? What is this?
Yo, Meteor Development Group. Ask me anything on Crater. Tomorrow at 12 p.m.
Saturday. It doesn't work as well as Sunday.
Yeah. But this is awesome. How did you close this, man?
Honestly, I wish I could take credit, right? Like people are giving me credit left and right on the forums or in the Slack chat room. Like I'll say this, like there was a post where someone was asking about the future of Meteor and like Webpack and that kind of stuff. And Node chimed in and I chimed in and we were talking about like, how MDG could do better with the community and then Sasha posted just last week about like how MDG needs to support the community more. And that I think sparked a lot of stuff. Like I think maybe we sparked stuff with the original post and then like they've been talking about it and someone contacted me and said, hey, we've been thinking about this from the original post. Like it really got us internally talking about how we can do better. And so I think Sasha's post just kind of lit a fire under them to really just kind of go at it full bore. And that's why, Sashko, I think, got the green light to really focus on Meteor guides, which is awesome. And Nick Coe contacted me and said, hey, like, we want to do an AMA. We've got 4 guys that are willing to do it. I think it's going to be a little bit of a longer AMA. They might commit to do an hour and a half to 2 hours of time, maybe jumping in and out, different guys. But we get, Martin, I think that's how you say it, who's doing Cordova stuff. He's going to be there. Yuri's going to be there. He's obviously doing a lot of Angular stuff. Yep. Sashko, who's done a lot of just really everything. Yeah. And then Nick will also be there. So I would say like bring all your questions with you and ask them. The chances of them answering them all are probably slimmer. Even with 4 people, but I think they're wanting to talk. They want to know what's on everyone's mind. They want to answer your questions. So, check it out.
Yeah, and it's going on during the
hackathon. Yes,
hackathon.
Yeah. Woo, woo.
Yeah, and another shout out for Nick. Nick Coe is heading that up, and he's doing a great job.
I got my box of swag.
Yeah, I got mine today too.
Nice.
Well, I don't know when I got it. I think my front desk forgot to email me. Anyway, I went up there today.
And it was there. I was kind of surprised. Like I've seen the bottle cap openers and I've got like 2 T-shirts already. So that stuff was all in there. But then they had screen cleaning cloths and like glasses cleaning cloths and stuff.
Yeah, but it's white.
It's white, but it's got the Meteor logo, which is it's kind of neat and cool. So
it's white. It's going to turn gray really soon.
So if you happen to catch this on YouTube tonight, the day before the hackathon, I will say you can show up and register on the hackathon site tomorrow and still participate. You didn't have to pre-register. So I think it's a little confusing.
And if you go to meetup.com and find a local meetup by you, if you show up at the kickoff meeting on Saturday, or if you got a meetup that's going to be doing a 24-hour host like Chicago is, then you can show up there, and the person that's heading that up will help you register and possibly hook you up with a team right there as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're gonna kick off with like a little, like people talking about ideas they brought. We only have 7 people, so it's not like huge. We try to like get some teams formed right there on the spot. Should be interesting.
Yeah, it's a big commitment that we're asking people. A whole weekend in October. It's a busy month.
It is. All
right.
right.
I told my kids, we can't get pumpkins this year because Daddy has a hackathon. They all cried, and then I said, yeah, and also I got a space camp to go to, so this is like Daddy's month. Forget Halloween.
Schmalloween.
Right.
All right, last story. We're gonna breeze this one quick because I got like 1 minute. So this is a great post. I got it up here. Yes, maybe. Baptiste Lehman. I hope I said that right. Sorry if I didn't. It's just a simple post, but it talks about Nginx and how to use it to do subdomains for multiple meteor apps, which I think is a pretty good thing to learn. I think Nginx is actually an underutilized tool in the meteor space. I've been playing a lot with it.
I agree.
Crater.
I agree.
And actually, I was talking to Michael Shillman, and I've been playing with ProveRender.io and hosting it myself on DigitalOcean. And I didn't even realize like you can cache responses from upstream proxies with Nginx. And so like if you hit with the escape frame, is if you hit Crater, you'll get a response, and then if you hit it again like from another browser, it'll be like lightning fast, and that's because we're caching that response for 30 minutes now. So Nginx is a pretty amazing.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
Where can someone find like documentation on how to like walk through this stuff to optimize Nginx and Meteor? So
it's all in Russian. I don't know. Just kidding. No, generally just Google about it. I've got one post about using SSL with Nginx. There's this one that kind of shows you, how to do the upstream proxies and that kind of stuff. And then I'll probably be doing a post soon that goes over CDN, and then another post that goes over like the pre-render caching and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's awesome. This is a nice. Oh man, I love posts like this.
Yeah,
this is the first time I'm looking at it.
It's direct. It's not too long. It's got good code examples.
This was posted a long time ago.
Was it? Well, I just made it onto Crater, so.
Yeah. Wow, where have you been my whole life? That's awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in this week. As always, we're sponsored by Modulus.io. Go check them out. They are, I think, the best affordable hosting plan available right now.
I love Modulus.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They do a good job, and their support is actually really good too. So, someone was just talking about having a problem, and it looks like Joyent's data center is having issues, and Modulus responded within, 10 minutes, telling them, hey, just try spinning up in DigitalOcean instead. So,
what stood out to me on that response too? They posted the whole response, and whoever responded to them didn't only answer that question, but they're like, "Oh, by the way,
we noticed you upgraded your RAM. You need to restart your instance for that to take effect."
Talk about the extra step.
Yeah,
like they stepped into his account and just like you could tell they did a once over really quick.
Yeah,
awesome support.
If you're wondering where we read about this support instance, it was on the Meteor Club Slack chat, and you can find that at the ever hackable Patreon, patreon.com/Meteor Club. I'm going to be ditching them really soon. I'm even thinking about doing it this weekend. We'll see.
You've
So
given them plenty of chances on this podcast to like listen to it and like step their game up.
yeah,
And it's
I
just
know
like,
it's so bad, like the hacking and stuff. Anyway, we'll get into that some other time. Whew. All right.
all right.
Guys. See you next week. Oh, yeah. See you next week. That's right.
See
This video has been a Meteor Club production. You can find out more information about Meteor Club and join the mailing list by clicking on the Meteor Club button below. If you enjoyed this video, you can also hit the subscribe button below and get more content like this. Thanks for watching.